Yep, you read the title. This is not clickbait at all. I have researched fentanyl slightly. You thought I used it, didn't you?
A better you starts today.
Do I look like a farmer from Ohio? Now that I think about it, kind of, yeah. But I'm not. And so, unfortunately, I've never had the sweet taste of hillbilly heroin, but I have just recently looked into a couple of people talking about the experiences of it, and I think that this is a very good self-help lesson to mooch off of. So now that you're here, don't click off. Listen to me, because this is going to help you out. You got it? You got it? Especially if you're a fentanyl addict. Hey, if you are a fentanyl addict, let me know. Is this what you feel like, right? They were saying that the problem with any of these drugs, so your heroins, your fentanyls, your meth, they all give you a feeling so good that you can never produce it in the real world. You can go to Disneyland, which as we all know is the happiest place on earth, even when you're in your 30s and you've got kids screaming for one of those gross turkey legs. Oh, it's just the best time ever, but not as good as fentanyl. Not as good as the good fentanyl, you know? Not as good. So, you are always lured back to the thought that your baseline of happiness just went off the charts, and you will never, ever feel anything that pleasurable again. Now, that is horrible, knowing that these things definitely destroy your life in a myriad of ways. They destroy your relationships, they destroy your health, they destroy your wealth. They take. They do nothing but take. This is the scary thing about drug use. It is impossible to stop. Once you pop, you can't stop because of that loop. It's, okay, my life keeps getting worse, but if I take heroin or I take fentanyl or I take ice, I forget about that momentarily in shorter and shorter spurts. This is even more evil. As you build up the tolerance, you are able to sit there and think, okay, well, at least I can escape my life going from shit to shit to shit to shit to shit in that short period of time, and then I do more. And usually when I am doing that, I do desperate things like steal. I had a friend who was on meth, for instance, right? And there's something called the cash converters shuffle. Oh my God, have you heard of this before? There's meth heads in line. He knew because he was selling his DJ set or whatever, and because he was scoring more meth, right? And so you're there late at night in this line going like the Goombas dancing in Super Mario. They're going like that, and the reason they're doing that is because they're coming down, and so they need to they're doing this like zombie shuffle, with their stolen stereos ready to hand something else in. What's really scary is that could be you. Like, you take that once, that could be you. Look, my friend is off it now, but he's never going to be happy again, really. It's destroyed his ability to feel happy because he has felt that artificial peak, and so nothing else, everything pales in comparison. This is the same thing that sort of happens when your standards raise over and over again. This is why people can get addicted to money. Same thing. It's just like, okay, well now I'm having a just slightly better champagne. I can't go back to the other one. Half of that is ego, sure, but the other half is, yeah, it is slightly better. This is the good and the bad thing, and I want you to understand this for the rest of your life. Look, when you get used to a certain lifestyle, when you get used to a certain standard, you will do anything to keep it purely because of that same smaller version of what is happening in fentanyl there. It's that, I can't go back. I'm used to the best. And I want you to understand, that's a good pressure to have in life. In life, if you are drilling that to something about your success in life, you will want to keep producing those results, which means that you have to keep producing better and better and better results. This is exactly the same as like this channel, or it's exactly the same with the Friendly Geordies channel. Look, your evolution can be slow, and that is going to be determining your success in that whole time, right? But the thing is that you certainly don't want to be going back for too long. You certainly don't want to be declining for too long. If you do, you start freaking out, and then you have to do anything to fix that situation. Like the meth head stealing the stereo. That's what is happening in your head when you get addicted to the right things. Just so you understand the psychology of what's going on here. you can get addicted to good things, but that same thing is happening of just like, but I can't go back to economy class. I'm used to business class. And so you will work at the same capacity that you were working before to maintain that. You start getting more efficient. Like, why am I constantly trying to put pressure on myself in certain areas? Like, why have I started up seminars? Why have I done my stand-up shows over the last 7 years? Because I'm used to the best. And so even this year, when I've had difficulties writing this stand-up show, because I've just run out of things to say, I've been talking a lot. I've been talking so much over the last 15 years. And you won't let me stop! Well, I won't let me stop because of these things, right? So I'm sitting there and the clock is ticking. And it's getting ticking and the pressure is mounting on my head. And it's getting to half the year. And usually I'm already starting to read in the first half. I've got nothing. And then I just start writing. And as a result of writing, I've come up with something. And you're going to have to wait until next year to hear about what it is. But it actually is like a nice crossover of self-help and Friendly Geordies, by the way. Just as a little teaser. But that is happening because I am used to externally putting out that much work. I am used to that output level of work, and I want that level of reward. I want the reward of touring around the country, which I find is like sort of my vacation. You know when you turn your vacation into a vocation? That's what's happening there. The touring is you get to go on a nice little vacation, and I am able to justify that in my head as, well, at least I'm still working on the process, right? And actually, this is something else that you start realizing when you start getting really baller in life, right? Nowhere to work better than 5,000 feet in the air, or however high airplanes go. Whatever they do. It's a good place to work. And because I'm addicted to work, I just want to fly more places. And I offset. I'm a good person. I'm an offsetter. But I want to work. So I'm addicted to it. And so as a result of that, I need my fix. And so even when I can sit there and say like, oh, I've got nothing to write this year. Oh, I've got enough money. No, something in your head is just like, you've got to have it. You've got to have that hit, right? And every time, this is true, every single time you go on stage, it gets more boring than the time before, which actually makes you a better performer, I think. And on top of that, it makes you want to try out new things. That's why you start getting quite ad-libby around like the 10-year mark. And it's a good thing, I think, early comics are seeing on TikTok that they should be doing that earlier. So they're already moving into that territory, that scarier territory there. But this is the scary thing about all of this. Everything follows that same pattern. Fentanyl is just a very good, hyper-extended example that everybody can look at and see that dynamic happening. Diminishing returns of happiness and worse and worse circumstances from happening, more and more desperation to keep those diminishing returns. This is sort of the trajectory of life. This is the mechanisms of your life. This is sort of how human psychology works up. And your thing that you're going to have to remember is first that mechanic. You're going to have to remember those mechanics. Sorry, I should make grammatically correct sentences. You're going to have to remember those in your life. And the reason that you are going to have to remember those in your life is that everything is following that same cycle. So everything that you do, you are going to get less pleasure out of it as time goes by. You will also want to keep doing it because that's where that addiction stays in. Because you don't want to revert back to where you were before. When you are addicted to drugs, you don't want to go back to that emotional state. When you're addicted to success, you don't want to go back to that financial state. When you're addicted to relationships, you don't want to go back to being single. And so you do things to keep improving so that you can go and, march on forward. Like, I think that if you're a junkie and you've been on it for a while, you do become a professional junkie. Yeah? Like, you probably get very good at lying. You probably get very good at cheating. You probably get very good at living in shitty circumstances. This is being a good junkie. This is the thing that really scares the shit out of me. Your material circumstances start defining who you are. They start impacting your psychology. And I think that that's very important for you to remember. That like, whatever you are doing now, you are doing it because you are trying to maintain a need. It always does actually come back to an emotional need, but there are other vehicles of getting those needs. So it could be money, it could be relationships, whatever, right? You are not going to get that same hit as you had the first time. For whatever reason, you linked up pleasure to going there, but it's probably put you in a better place. Or has it? Is it time for you to get addicted to something else? because there is things that you start getting addicted to. So for instance, I've started getting addicted to ad-libbing during shows. Why? Because it's good advertising for shows. And on top of that, the audience just really likes it. It's win-win. So I started including it. Now, for the first year, it was kind of just like 30 seconds here and there. Now, I can probably just riff for minutes on end. There's other people that just go on for like an hour. And why is that? It's just because you want to keep upping the ante naturally. Once you start setting something in motion, the ball just gets bigger, anything that you do. And psychologically, you are wanting to start moving in that direction. But this is the whole thing. Much like fentanyl, one time probably is enough for you to be addicted for life. It's exactly the same with all of these other circumstances. You want something bad enough, you do it once, you don't get the hit, and then you want more. It's always just that first push. The rest of it starts solving itself. And so this is very important for you to understand. Everything after that starts slotting in. It is always up to you. It is always incumbent. If you have something that is niggling at the back of your head, the reason that it is there is because you haven't taken that first snowball push. And after that, trust me, everything after that just takes care of itself. And you just become a junkie of winning. Speaking of winners, they sign up to Jordan Shanks' Patreon. I seriously think that. I honestly think that if you sign up to Jordan Shanks' Patreon, you are going to be a winner in life, I guarantee it. Why? Because it is just what winners do. They have someone pushing them over and over again, saying, do this, do that, make sure that you are reflecting on your life. That is what highly successful people do. What are they doing? They are constantly writing out diaries. They are constantly pushing themselves. That's what successful people, that's the only thing that separates them from everybody else. Reflection and drive. And you need somebody in your ear constantly saying, let's get more drive in you. Let's get more motivation. That is a very important thing to have. And if you don't get it from me, get it from someone else. But come on, get it from me. Sign up to Patreon. I'll see you next time. Oh, yeah, and come to my seminars.